All right, let's talk about Skyline. We use Skyline as a metaphor for organizational culture change for 3 reasons. 1, you cannot fake a Skyline because it reflects the reality on the ground. 2, nobody owns or designs a Skyline. It is what emerges with people doing what they are always going to do, their own work, their own context. And the third part is, most of us have a powerful memory of a Skyline. It's usually you're driving somewhere over a bridge and suddenly you see a city skyline emerge, or you're flying in somewhere and you see the first beginnings of a skyline. For most of us, those are very powerful memories. And that's really what we want for organizational culture. We want a visual representation that evokes a powerful sense of who we are and who we want to be. Because so much of our culture is intangible. It's our hopes and dreams and wishes, all of those things. By turning those intangibles into this very visually evocative symbol that most of us are used to in our day-to-day lives, that makes organizational change so much more understandable and translatable and real for any group of people. So that's really the use case for Skyline. Now, generally, before you can use Skyline with the organizations, you have to get buy-in. And usually you want buy-in from a C-suite executive for among the following pain points. You either have a new team starting, or there's been a change in your organizational dynamics, a new leader, new priorities, new way of working. And on a micro level, it could be as simple as a new shift in a restaurant. You can do a little bit of Skyline envisioning at the beginning of every shift to reorient people into the context of what they are doing together. Any business that has a very strong cyclical sense, like theme parks, tax preparation businesses, they have a very strong certain start time, end time. So those are perfect opportunities for reinforcing culture and vision through Skyline. So once you make the case with an executive and they say, sure, you can have 90 minutes with my team to do Skyline. Okay, where do you start? Well, go back to your navigation guide, because you're going to have 2 sets of cards to work with. One is your discovery deck. That is what you give all the participants. And for Skyline, the discovery deck is a series of city skylines from around the world. And we do intentionally make them very diverse and geographically representative. Some skylines we all know, like New York City or Paris. I mean, Eiffel Tower is sort of thing everybody knows. But if you go beyond the major cities that we all know of, you give people an opportunity to look more closely at something they may not have noticed. What is jumping out at them? What do they notice first? As a cautionary note, not everybody is used to doing this, so you're going to have to walk them through this. And that's where you have your Wayfinders prompts. Those are literally a series of activities that you can use to walk your participants through those city skylines. There are 6 sessions. You don't have to use all of them. You can custom tailor which sequence configuration makes more sense. And obviously time is always a factor. So work with the time that you have, but really always do the sense making. And sense making is the first session because it orients everybody towards what is this thing we're observing individually and collectively? What are we interpreting? Because even when we all see the same thing, we interpret things differently. That is the collective sense-making that we're doing. So the whole point of Skyline as an activity is to get people to think through, what do we take for granted maybe as our culture? What do we assume is our norm that may not be obviously normal to everybody else? So Skyline is a metaphor for perceptions and hopes and wishes. And if you're doing a Skyline activity, you will end with a customized city skyline that represents what this group of people are trying to do together. It is how they see their reality. And that becomes a powerful symbol of the conversation, but also the commitment. Skyline done well reorients people towards the context and makes it easier to come back to the context every time you start a new work day or a new work shift. So when you're doing Skyline with an organization or a team, usually because there's something changing in the environment, new priorities, new leadership, honestly, or a new season, any of those scenarios, you use Skyline to get everybody oriented around the same shared vision. This is our reality, here's where we're going. And when you end up with a Skyline, it becomes a powerful metaphor of the conversation we just had, but also the commitment that we're making to make this dream come alive for the organization, for the business, for the team. And every time people walk in and see that same skyline, it's a mental shorthand. Oh, this is why I'm here today. And it really makes it easier to reorient people back to a new workday over time.